Step 1. Make your face. Ta-da! 2. Pick your props. What kind of audio do they produce? What kind of texture do they have? Hello guys. Okay, so I'm going to be doing something kind of on the same note as a previous video. I'm going to go through some of the steps that I personally go through when I am making an ASMR video. My main curiosity also with other creators, whether or not they have something that's a very simple setup, whether or not they use an external microphone, if they just use a regular cell phone to do any of their recordings. So this is how I do mine. I would be very, very interested in any of the other creators out there. Also to give you a more technical look at what goes on in the background with the video and the audio editing, at least what I do. I would love to see I would love to see what other people do and some of the challenges that you guys all face when you're recording, whether or not it's a very simple setup, if you use just one recording device, if you have multiple recording devices, if you have a studio. Oh, that would be cool. I don't have a studio. I have a spare bedroom, but I am going to show you the steps I go through. So first, oh my gosh. Okie dokie. That interruption is probably one of the things I'll talk about. So first thing that I'm going to do is I did not clean any of my props. I did not clean up any of my desk. This is what it normally looks like. And I have my little netbook that is doing my audio recording right now. I use the program Audacity. I like this netbook because it has a Celeron processor, it has passive cooling, it does not have any audio pickup because there is no fan. I also replaced the hard drive with a solid state, so there's no mechanical motor that you'll hear in the background, and that is how I record my audio. This is my main camera that I do my videos with. It is the Nikon D3300. And then I have my Yeti. This is my primary microphone. Right now I am filming on my Canon ELPH 360, and it's just a normal digital camera. It's more like a vlogging camera. When I am planning to record, I usually write out a script. I think this was for the the recent hockey series that I was doing. So I usually will write down different ideas, and then I will get like my props together, things that I want to recording, just to see where I'm at and keep me kind of on pace. And then the next phase I usually do is the prop planning. And when you're doing anything like massaging with skin sounds, this sounds relatively accurate. And then these are the little acupressure cupping things that I've used. But I have a whole bunch of different screw bits. Toilet paper makes a nice little crunchy sound. This is the light pen or pen light that I usually use. There's my messy stash of recently accessed props. However, I did show what I keep in my storage box over there, and that has things like my stethoscope and my box of latex gloves and other things. I'm going to start a video it's going to be from the perspective of the viewer laying on their back or with their head in my lap, and then it's just going to be a very long face massage with the sound of rubber gloves. So that's what I'm planning on recording this morning. So I'm going to switch out my tripod. I only have one tripod, so I'll show you how that recording usually starts. Okay, this is the setup. As ridiculous as this may look and sound, this is how the camera is normally positioned when I am doing any of like the chiropractic role plays or the role plays where you can imagine, me touching your face, or from this perspective. A lot of the times I have this propped up on the tripod, but when I'm doing these types of videos, this is how I very sloppily have the camera angled. I usually use something like a sock, and these little guys are really nice because they're silicone, and silicone is kind of sticky. So if you use it at an angle, it really holds the camera kind of in place. This sound right here. I mean, it's kind of a cute little motor sound, but it's also really annoying. One of the other things that you had probably seen when I had started this video, and I'm going to leave this in intentionally, is I do snapping. Often I will do clapping, 3 claps before every video, and there's a reason for that. Your camera has a mic on it that is also picking up the audio, but it doesn't pick it up nearly as well as the Yeti does. By making really loud, distinct noises, you can see those spikes on the audio recording, and it's much easier to sync your audio and your video. One of the other things that I had talked about with another ASMR creator is how to know when your recording time is running out. Hit the record button on my camera, and then I hit the record button on my netbook, which will start the Yeti recording. So what I do, and I learned this from Infinitely ASMR, is I have a little handheld mirror. So when I hit the record button, I kind of use this mirror to look at the screen, and I can see the record button or the record red light that blinks. When I'm recording at 30 frames per second, I have a 20-minute increment that I can record in. I usually just kind of wing it, but you can see in the corner of my eye here, or at least from where I'm sitting, I can look over there, and Audacity will show me approximately how much audio I have recorded. So when I approach 20 minutes, I'll stop and I'll repeat the process. My microphone is backwards. I usually use my microphone in this position because I found that it picks up audio a little bit better when it is backwards, and one of the things that will result in is your channels are reversed. But one thing you can do is select the audio, and then you can go to audio track, and you can reverse the stereo channel, so your left will be right and right will be left. And this is just my method for what I think produces the best audio recording, but keeps it in the correct left and right channels. From there, I export the audio files onto a flash drive, and when everything is in one place, it makes it a lot easier to finish up with video editing. For my video editing software, I use the program VideoPad. The claps in the microphone, or the clapping or the snapping of my fingers when I'm recording, is how I sync up and at least visually see where the audio spikes are when I am placing those audio clips into the video. With my audio editing, I don't do a whole lot of editing. So the only real editing I do with my audio is I add a filter to help reduce background noise. So I use a high pass filter for that, usually set at about 200, and that takes out some of the static and some of the boom. It allows a lot of the things like mouth sound more clear. You can also, with the separate layers, adjust the audio of it. So when I originally recorded that crunching sound, it was very, very loud. So you can reduce that. And same with rain, same with wind, anything that you want to add in. VideoPad is pretty good with that sort of thing. From there, it's just a matter of cutting out and clipping any of the unwanted and embarrassing funny features, such as the Windows notifications that pop up and let me know that I'm not running an antivirus program, or that I haven't downloaded updates in a year, or if it's Mr. Milton crying in the background because he's hungry. So finishing up with the video and audio editing, splicing, cutting out the audio of traffic or any just kind of weirdness, and then exporting the video. I usually record at 30 frames per second. Although I have done 60 frames per second, but you can only record in 10-minute increments when you're doing something like that. And the normal record time is 20 minutes when I'm recording at 30 frames per second.